fast ship. You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Outer Rim Rookie podcast. This episode originally aired on March 5th, 2017. My guest today is Tim McMahon. He was the host of the one-time podcast, Less Than 12 Parsecs podcast. He also runs the Facebook site, Star Wars Podcast and Podcasters, which is still operational and a very useful site for those who are interested in podcasting about Star Wars. And most importantly, he is a member of the England Garrison, 501st Legion. Today we talk about his journey to becoming a 501st member, the challenges of building his armor, and the advice for those thinking of joining. And we also wrap up with 10 stupid questions, which was a staple on his show at the time. So thanks for tuning in. Check out the links below for more information on everything that we talk about, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Outer Rim Rookie. My name is Rob Williams. Terry Chu is not here today. He's probably buried in about 5 feet of snow right now, but he's, if anything, he's probably designing a snow trooper costume while doing it. But I do have an extremely special guest. If you've ever listened to Star Wars podcast, you probably know who my guest is. He is Tim McMahon, the host of Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, as well as a co-host of the expanded comic verse with Alan Voivod of Star Wars 7x7 fame. He is also runs a Facebook site called Star Wars Podcast and Podcasters. He's also designing the Star Wars Podcast Master List. This is a busy guy, and I'm so fortunate to have him join me all the way from Maine. It is Tim McMahon.
Hello, thanks for having me on. This is an honor and a pleasure.
Tim, okay, I listen to your show every time. I got to tell you, I love the Less Than 12 Parsecs show. I collect them all at some point, like 5 or 6 episodes together, and then I just do a little rundown of all the shows all at once because they are short, but they're just so wonderfully put together. I sense a lot of joy and happiness in these little podcasts.
Yeah, honestly, I do it for the fun of it. It's fun for me to do, and that's why I do it. And like you said, they're short. 5 minutes or less is my goal. I mean, when I started out, I thought I was going to do a 2-minute podcast, but that turned out to be impossible. And so 5 minutes is the new 2 minutes. It's
the 5-minute abs, right? Is that what we're calling it? But now you've even got mini rigs, which are 1 minute podcasts.
Yes. That was just sort of a challenge to myself, like remembering my original concept of a 2-minute show that I'm like, well, what if I try every now and then, maybe like once every week or two, to do a 1-minute show? Can it be done? And so far I have. Yeah, I've done a couple.
I think next up for you is the 5-second podcast where you just like, I like Star Wars, the end.
Yeah. Today's topic, Boba Fett, goodbye.
Yeah, and that's just randomly shouting out character names and then ending it. And the intro is actually longer than the actual show itself. So.
You know what? I'm going to steal that idea. It's genius.
Oh, make the first one Reese then, could you?
Okay,
all right, done. But the reason we have you on the show is not just to talk about your podcast, but you are a member of the 501st.
Yes, I'm here in the New England Garrison. I've been officially a member since 2012, 2013. I think I signed up in 2012. My costume was finished in 2013, and having a great time doing that.
So, first of all, are you a stormtrooper, scout trooper, snow trooper? What are you?
I am a stormtrooper and a sand trooper.
Oh, you're a sand trooper too. Cool.
Yeah, my first costume was a stormtrooper, and honestly, I rushed through it. I wanted to get it done so fast for an upcoming event that I was unhappy with it because I went too fast. So someone told me, you know what? Sand is a great way to hide blemishes and mistakes, and they're right. You just call it battle damage.
What's your TK number?
TK 44221.
Huh.
Yeah, it was the closest thing out there at the time to 44221. To 421.
The funny thing is, I think there's a member of our garrison who's extremely close to yours. It's got to be like 44211 or something like that. Yeah. I know there's the legend of TK421 is out there, and so I'm assuming that's where you got your inspiration.
Oh, yes.
Does the Sand Trooper have a different TK number, or is it?
Oh, no, it's the same number. Whenever you get a new costume, you keep the number. You just change the letters at the beginning. So he's TD, D for desert, TD 44221.
Gotcha. Okay. Now,
If I were to become a biker, he'd be TB 44221.
yes, and that's the goal I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to become a TB, or a biker scout.
Right.
What? I guess my first question is, what sparked the inspiration? What got you into wanting to join the 501st?
I heard about the 501st a long time ago. I was the sort of guy who was on Star Wars websites way back in the day, when the internet was first invented. And the first thing that I always heard about the 501st was, oh, these guys make their own costumes. So I think, all right, I'm not a maker, I'm not a crafter, I don't have that kind of skill, but I'm going to try. So I searched online how to make a Stormtrooper costume, and that was my first mistake. And this was, over 10 years ago. I found instructions on like, oh, well, first you have to make a cast of your body, and then you have to buy molding clay and shape each piece of armor to the cast of your body, and then you have to, make molds of that clay so that you can then vacuum form piece by piece yourself. I did not realize that there are members of the garrison who do all that work for you.
Wow.
This project looked too big. Either it was just way over my head, too much money, too much time. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do that now. Jump ahead maybe 10 years, and then I went to Free Comic Book Day. I think it was the very first Free Comic Book Day. And there was a local member of the 501st there. And I'm like, oh my God, this is real. It's happening. And I asked for his information, and I chatted with him afterwards. And he said, no, we don't actually make it from scratch. We make it from a kit. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had known that.
Oh, that saved you a lot of time.
Right.
I tell everybody the purpose of this podcast is to help others become a 501st member, because I'm all thumbs when it comes to building things, building things is pretty much it. I can draw everything, but building is really tough for me. So you found this a little bit intimidating, I'm assuming, at first when they were talking about molds. So how did it feel when you're putting all the armor together and the casts, or not the casts, but the kit together?
That first day when you get the big brown box that shows up on your doorstep and you open it up, it's just overwhelming. Even though it wasn't all the work I had thought it was going to be a decade earlier, I was just like, oh, man. And this is after having read the forums and watched videos and done all the research for months and months online. I was just like, oh, what have I got myself into? But, you just take it one step at a time. You make that first cut. The hardest cut to make is the very first cut. And my advice is always go slow, measure twice, cut once. And that was the mistake I made, is I didn't go slow. I rushed through it. The reason is I got I received my big brown box on October 1st, and I wanted it done by Halloween on the 31st. And I just every free moment I had for that month, I just rushed through, and I was doing it alone. I didn't have any help. It was my first time. So yeah, it came out a little sloppy. It passed. I passed. I got in.
So it couldn't have been that sloppy then if you had passed it.
Right. They were kind to me.
So you got it done in a month.
Yes.
Holy
Stormtrooper
smokes.
in a month. Yeah.
So were you spending like every day trying to put this thing together?
Yep, I would come home from work, go right into the basement, and I was down there until it was time to go to bed.
Now, how nimble are you when it comes to putting things together, building, crafting?
Not very. I'm always up for the challenge. When we bought our house, my wife and I would love watching, those documentaries of people fixing up houses you see on television, This Old House and all those DIY type shows. So I'm always willing to try something, but if you walk around my house, you can tell that I did it and not a professional. So it was like the same idea with the Stormtrooper armor. It's like, I'm willing to try it, but I'm not a professional.
This old armor is pretty much what we're going to call
exactly.
it. But okay, so that's cool. So that's so why did you not reach out to any of the members at the time, or why did you not reach out for anybody's help?
I didn't. I guess I didn't navigate the forums properly. I'm not. I was. It took me a long time to get used to forums. It's an art form to forums. So I guess I didn't read the instructions the correct way. I thought you had to approach them after you were done. Like, I didn't realize you could go to your garrison, your local garrison, and say, "Hey, I'm new. Can someone want to throw an armor party for me?" You know, I didn't realize that was an option.
Did you ever go to armor parties after the fact?
Yes. So like I said, my original Stormtrooper became my Sand Trooper. My second set is a Stormtrooper, and it came out beautiful thanks to help at armor parties and such.
So, yeah, and that's what we've been kind of promoting as well. Armor parties, we did one video of us visiting an armor party, and it was so, not only was it inspirational, but it was also very educational. We talked to people, we heard their tragic stories, some people almost like the body cast sort of story, like, you got to do this by yourself, and this is the only way you can do it. And it's not true. You could ask for help.
Yes, and I just didn't realize that was an option. It's my own stupidity that got me in the position I was in. Because of that, I'm always super helpful to new guys now. I'm a mentor. We have a mentor program in our garrison. I help out new guys left and right. I've actually, through my podcast, helped out people who ended up joining in garrisons across North America that I've never even met. But they're like, "Hey, man, thanks for your help. You got me going on the right path." And that's always great to hear.
Oh, that is awesome. So what's one of the biggest challenges you face besides the full body cast that you're intending to do?
On my Stormtrooper, getting the sizing right on the forearms and the biceps, because you need more than two hands to do that. That's something I recommend getting help to do correctly.
And so when did you decide to switch to Sand Trooper?
After about a year of going to events and, like, you know, I looked fine. Honestly, my Stormtrooper looked fine. But then when I stood next to other people, like, all I could see was the differences. Like, oh, I did this wrong, I did that wrong. And that's when I talked to one of the Sandies in our garrison. He's like, "Yeah, no, this mud covers everything. Just switch over. It's easy."
How long did it take you to put the Sand Trooper costume together?
Well, since everything was already built, it was just a matter of really doing the weathering. You had to switch out a few pieces. You had to change the ab plate, the belly. You had to change the sniper plate, which is on the knee, and change some of the paint job on the helmet. But beyond that, it was just a matter of doing the weathering. And
where'd you go to look for pictures and reference material?
The MEPD, Mos Eisley Police Department. Again, it's another forum. You know, each costume in the 501st has their own forum, and MEPD is the Sand Trooper forum.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Once you said Mos Eisley Police Department, I just remember Jamie, one of my co-hosts, talking about that. And I honestly thought he was joking, but it's an actual site that's very helpful, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Now, let's talk about the troops. When you go on these troops, what's some of the more positive memories you've had from these things?
The interaction with the general public is always awesome. I'm a guy who likes little kids. I'm one of those silly dads. I have kids of my own, and I'm one of those goofy dads. So I like going out there and being the high five trooper. You know, giving the little kids high fives and fist bumps, and, you know, love doing the pictures with people. I can't say I've had a bad experience with a member of the public while I'm in costume yet. Also, it's fun just to meet up with these people who you see. Our garrison is pretty spread out, so a lot of our communication is online. So it's great when you meet someone who you've been chatting with for weeks and weeks online, finally meet them in person. So,
that's awesome. So, do you have any advice for people who want to join the garrison or the 501st?
Yeah, reach out. Read as much as you can, ask as many questions as you can. It sounds like a stupid question. It's probably been asked 1,000 times before, but you know what? We've all had those questions when we first started. So ask, reach out, be friendly. There you go. That's about it. Communication, that's the key.
Yes, I totally agree. And something we've been promoting on our show constantly. You got to talk. And as you said, the forums are a bit of a different language. It's a different art form. But
yeah.
Yeah, just ask.
That was my mistake. Yeah, that was my mistake at first. I did the reading, but I wasn't doing the asking. I wasn't I wasn't reaching out.
And eventually you're going to find a 501st event, whether it's a comic convention or some sort of charity event, and you just ask.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much. Now, to finish off the show, typically on your less than 12 parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, I love that. My favorite part there. You typically ask your guests 10 stupid questions. So I thought I'd reverse the table and ask you 10 stupid questions, all straight for Tim McMahon. So are you ready?
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Good.
I'm labeling an official protest.
All right, the first question is take a body cast of yourself first before we start. Okay, so the first question, here we go. If you had unlimited funds, what costume would you design next?
Snow troopers, any type of snow trooper, be it original trilogy or sequel trilogy, just because it's so darn cold most of the time here in New England that, I want to keep warm.
Number 2, name a famous actor or actress you would like to see in a cameo as a stormtrooper.
Ooh, yeah.
Take your time. I'm not timing you on this one.
This is not easy at all. Ryan Reynolds.
Nice. Oh, I like that. What's his TK number? That's his number 3.
Oh, this is a family-friendly show. I can't say that.
Okay, I figured it out. Number 4, what do you think is TK421's real name?
Isn't it Bob? I think I've seen the internet meme where it's Bob.
Number 5, if you were not podcasting about Star Wars, what would you podcast about?
Let's see. Comic books, James Bond. I have another podcast that might be launching in the future about movies I haven't seen that I should have seen. Oh. Classic 80s things that I missed somehow. So
I suggest Remo Williams, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's one I haven't missed. I've seen that one.
Okay, it's an awesome
love it.
Bad movie. Number 6, what do you think is the last classic Star Wars figure that you will finally track down?
Yak Face.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, probably.
That's a toughie.
It's pretty rare, yeah.
Number 7, you have to pick a new co-host for your less than 12 parsecs podcast, and it has to be from Jabba's Palace. Who is it?
Well, how about Reese?
Oh, don't suck up to me, sir. But good answer.
No, Salacious Crumb then, because, it makes me sound funnier if he's cackling in the background. So.
Oh, that's a very good choice. I love this. You're nailing these, by the way. Number 8, you had to pick one character from an original Star Wars Marvel comic book to bring back to canon for Episode 8. Who is it?
Oh, it has to be Don Juan Quixote, the Jedi Knight.
Dude, stop sucking up to the host here.
Why? I didn't realize. Is he one of your favorites?
Oh, Don Quixote is my life, man. It's awesome. I got a picture, a Picasso picture hung up in my bathroom of Don Quixote. So
I read that book because of the Star Wars comic books.
Really? That's so cool. Number 9, who would you like to troop with in your next 501st outing? I
have long had the dream of doing like a Paul Loxley, I think his first name is Paul, the Australian guy who he walked all the way around Australia in Star Wars gear, in Stormtrooper gear, and I've always wanted to follow in his footsteps and walk all the way across North America and troop with every garrison out there at least once.
Oh, brilliant.
All for charity.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And finally, last question. AT-AT or all-terrain armored transport?
I'm sorry, I go with AT-AT.
Don't be sorry. That is the correct answer. Ding, ding, ding. So you did awesome on this 10 stupid questions. Thank you very much. So if you haven't checked out Tim McMahon's podcast yet, he is the host of Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, as well as the Expanded Comicverse with Alan Voivod, and also on Facebook. You can find everything there. We'll put links in our description. But thank you very much, Tim McMahon, for joining us on Outer Rim Rookie. And any last words you want to say?
No, it's been great here. I wish you all the best getting your armor together in time for the parade in July. I know you'll make it. I know you'll have a lot of fun, and I can't wait to follow your path along the way.
All right, thank you very much. And on behalf of Terry Chu, thank you for listening to Outer Rim Rookie. And remember, armor is built on hope.